everyone, I am Amanda from Mandy Lynn Plans. Welcome back for another comparison video. Today we are taking a look at the two A6 books that Hobonichi offers. One is an English version and the other is Japanese. And if that is all I told you, and you had no experience with either of these planners, it would be safe to assume that this is the English and this is the Japanese. As you can see, this has English on it and this has Japanese on it. But actually, interestingly enough, this is actually the English planner and this is the original Japanese planner. So the first thing and obvious thing that is different is the cover. So you will see that this is black and it does have some texture to it, and it's like that all the way around. And then on the spine it says Hobo and then 2020 at the bottom, and this is in gold just like the front. And then the cover for the original is very similar to the cover in the cousin. If you saw my videos for those or are familiar with the A5 size, it's the same type of cover. But then I was surprised to find that they are just a little bit different in size. So if you can tell maybe that there's just a slight difference in how tall those are. The English planner, the one in the back, is actually just a smidge taller. It is the same everywhere else. So here it's even, and roughly, as far as I can tell, they are pretty similar in thickness. We will get to that more at the end of the book, but I do actually think that the Japanese version has a couple more pages. So flipping it open, you can see that since the outsides of the covers are different, the insides are also different. So this is kind of a light muted gray color and this is cream. So the first spread here, the year at a glance, this is the English planner here on the left and the original is on the right. You will see that the English version has 2020, the year that the planner is, and then this one has 2021 on this side. The original Japanese actually has 2020, 2019, so that you can take a look at the year previous, and then 2021. So that is actually a pretty significant difference. Also, you will see that there are no Japanese characters in the English version as we go throughout the planner. So then we have the year index pages. They are laid out the same on each page. We have 2 months per side and 4 months total per spread. The only difference here that I can see, besides the obvious like chunks of filled in color here, the Japanese planner colors the weekends, both Saturday and Sunday, and then holidays. The English planner colors the Sundays red, and you will see more of that later whenever we get further into the book. So here we have Saturdays are gray, Sundays are red, and then holidays are this light pink color. And they both go until March of 2021. So then the very next spread is a December monthly on both of them, and this is again where we can see some of the changes. So as I said before, Saturday is this kind of bluish grayish color, and then Sunday is red. And the English planner, Sundays are red, but that is the only color. You'll also notice that it's only the text and numbers that are colored, where here there are the top little headers that are colored. And this is the same way in the cousin, and I actually would love if they had a version similar to this for the cousin. I don't like the colored banners. But another really big difference about these two planners is the size of the grid. I have the English on the left and the Japanese on the right, and you will see that the boxes are actually pretty significantly different. So the English version is a 4.0 grid, and the Japanese is a 3.7 grid, the same as the cousin. It might not seem like a big difference, but it actually is. Here you will see that in each box there are 6 different grids, and in here there are 7. But the boxes themselves are actually really close to the same size. Then just a couple other things to point out. This header spot is a little bit bigger than this one, and then you do get a little bit of extra on these days at the bottom. They are both 3 grid spaces, and since these grids are bigger, there is just a little bit more space for these days. They both include the week numbers and then what month it is and the year. They both have monthlies from December of 2019 in this specific year to March 2021. So then the very next spread after the monthlies is this turning a page to the new year, and they are very similar. The only difference that I can spot besides the grid space that we already talked about are these little calendars at the bottom. So in the Japanese version, they include a December 2019 and a January 2021 calendar, but in the English, it is just grid. That is it. So then after that, we have the beginning month pages. Now this is a blank page except for this text at the top, but the English actually has a very, very faint dotted line, and I'm gonna try and show you that here. And it says coming up and January. So you can have the things that are pressing for this month for you to refer back to. And in the Japanese version, there is just the quote and January and 1, and then a completely blank version, and then this red bar so that you can easily flip back and find this page. So the rest of this book, with the exception of a couple pages in the back, is daily pages. So let's take a look at the differences between these daily pages. So let's start at the top. Here we have a 1 for January, and in the English it actually says January. This is the date, so we have this is January 1st. In the English, you get Wednesday. I'm assuming that this character here is Wednesday. And then you have the moon phase and the day of the year. So this is the first day of the year. In the English, you have where it says week 1. Now, this might say week 1, but I'm not sure. I don't know. And then you have this symbol here, which I'm assuming means New Year's Day. So whenever they have holidays, it's very, very faint, but it is printed on. And then at the top here, you do have 5 boxes that a lot of people use for their priorities for the day. Then moving on to the side, here you will see a timeline. They are giving you an hour per grid, and only the 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 0, and 3 are marked with little dots. On the English side, we have the 12, and we have a fork and knife for supper time. So you can really fill in these hours however you want. You could spread out the hours more if you don't need a full 24 hours, or you could fill it in if you do like the 24-hour view. So then at the bottom here, we do have quotes, and I think it's probably safe to assume that it is the same quote. This is just in Japanese, and this is in English. And then moving over to the calendar, they're very similar. They have the characters for the days of the week, and here we have MTW, etc., with the day that it is circled. So the last big difference that I want to point out in these two planners is that for each month, there is a different color of grids and little tabs on the side. So as I flip here, you can see that the color does change per month, and some people like that and some people do not. The English planner is black for every single month, with the exception of Sundays. Sundays are always red. That goes for the text and also these little tabs on this side. So it's easy whenever you're flipping through to see where the Sundays are. Here, if you were looking on this side and you know that July is blue, you can flip to the blue and there you are in July. But with the English version, they are all black. You can just see a little bit of red every once in a while, and that is for the Sundays. So then flipping back to the very end, after all of the daily pages, we have the blank pages. Now in the Japanese version here, we have the same grid that we've had the whole time, and it looks like it's just a normal gray color. But then for some reason, in the English version, they decided to go with a red dot grid. So there are 14 of these pages, and you have red dot grid for all of them. You also have 14 here in the Japanese version. I'm going to do my best in showing you both of these as I flip through. This is the Japanese and this is the English. I think I may have flipped, I'm not sure. Sorry, this is Japanese and this is English. And you will see a lot of differences in these pages. And I actually did forget, this does have a 15th blank page with those red dots on it. So here we have important contacts, and in the Japanese we have timetables, 2 of them. Then we have some graph paper in the Japanese, and then a sizing chart and conversion table, and then a ruler on the side in the English version. Then we have favorites. We actually have 4 pages of those. And then this gets into the My 100. Same with the English. Here's the My 100 spread. I know a lot of people are really excited that that is back in with the 2020 planners. And then we get into some of these pages. Now this is where the Japanese seems to have a lot more pages. I couldn't really find these pages in the English. It talks about some of the local festivals in Japan. And these look like they're things that have to do with the different months. This could be festivals, but the pictures aren't the same, and so I'm not really sure. And then we have some more Japanese-y things. And then in the English, we're done after that. We have personal notes, and that's it. But we still have several pages to flip through here in the Japanese version. We have a gifts page, which would have been interesting and helpful to have in the English planner. I think these are probably holidays. And then addresses, and then we have a personal notes page with a social media page to close it out, which we do not have in the English version. But they do both come with their own specific little number. So what are my thoughts on these 2 little books? Personally, I do not plan in an A6 size, but if I were to switch to an A6, I would probably gravitate towards the Japanese myself. Now that could be for a couple different reasons. I am used to the cousin, and the way that the Japanese is laid out is very similar to the cousin, and so that's just what I know. I like that the months are different colors, so it's easy to tell when I'm flipping through. I don't know how I feel about the Sundays always being red in this English version, personally. So I'm kind of up in the air. They're definitely very similar, but I did want to show you the differences, as I personally found several differences to be interesting to me. Even as I was flipping through, I didn't know about the red dotted grid pages in the back of this. I just assumed that there was a lot the same. It just didn't have the Japanese quotes at the bottom, that they were in English, but there were a lot more differences than I realized. So let me know down in the comments which you prefer, if you knew that there were more than one option or not, and if you will be changing now that you know that this English planner exists. I did also want to mention that the original does come in both a Sunday and a Monday start. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.